Testament that God created everything, but the sole creature created by God in His image is humans. And therefore, it is immediately added that humans stand high above the animals and can put animals to good use. And then, as you know, this is then associated with the conception of nature as a creation, and as a creation with a hierarchy in it, called the scala naturae, and humans standing very high on that scala, and other animals standing lower on that ladder. Then, of course, the other route, looking at the history of thought, is rationalism in modern thought, in Descartes and in Immanuel Kant. Here again you see the idea of humans as vernunftwezen, and vernunft being present in only one creature, which is humans, and not in other creatures. So here again a strict and essential difference is between humans and apes, humans and other animals. A difference of essence of ousia, as Aristotle and Plato call it. It's a difference, made of different stuff, and it's especially then the rational soul which is pointed to in that connection. Humans as vernunftwezen. And this is an idea which continues up into contemporary thought, and then very aware of speaking here in Heidelberg, which is a famous city in terms of the history of philosophy. And very many philosophers have teach at this university, saying that humans are vernunftwezen and stand high above the animals and have a zonderstelling in nature. And this idea is still very much around. I did my doctoral thesis on Max Scheler and Helmut Plessner, but I will say a little bit more about that later on. But I would like to mention two very, very good philosophers, which I hold in a very high esteem, one of which is Jürgen Habermas, and the other one is Paul Ricoeur. And they both say that humans are essentially different from animals. Humans are vernunftwezen. En vernunft wordt der sprake als teleology. It's a very famous quote from Habermas. Connects it to human language, which of course is not present in that form of animals. So I have been talking now about human identity, but this human identity has been articulated in Linnaeus, in Darwin and the Darwinists, even in citizens' discourse on humans and animals. Human identity, the citizen's identity, the scholars, the academic's identity has been articulated in terms of the alterity of the animal, in terms of the otherness of the ape. And this apish other, which is a very important character in the articulation of human identity, was a monstrous other. And this is a statue from one of the late 19th century world's fairs, in this one in Paris, and it's a statue by Frémien, famous sculptor from France, and shows a gorilla abducting a woman. And this is one of the stereotypical attributions of fierceness towards this animal apish other. It's not correct in its sexual behavior. It's monstrous not just in terms of its ugly physique, with its animal snout and all that, but it's also monstrous in terms of its monstrous behavior. And as ethnologists are very quick to point out, the three foci of taboos or of incorrect behavior being food, what you eat and what you do not eat. You eat in a civilized manner. Sex, you behave in a civilized way even when having sex. And clothing also. You should dress properly, and all these others do not behave correctly in these several respects. And here's one of the quintessential others in the history of modern thought, who has very many characteristics in common with this one. This is King Kong from the Marion Cooper film 1927, and in the recent remake into this work. But King Kong is just an avatar. It's the same figure popping up again of Caliban, and Caliban is a monstrous other confronted with the paragon of civilized, of a civilized European, Prospero and lusting after Miranda, Prospero's daughter. And it's called The Monster, some 40 poems by Shakespeare in his latest play, The Tempest. A thing most brutish, a thing of darkness, as disproportionate in manners as in shape. And I had 45 minutes to do 200 years of ideas on apes and feelings about apes, which is not enough. And I would have loved to tell you about Sigmund Freud, because King Kong is exactly what Sigmund Freud thinks when he talks about human motivation. Human motivation, is an apish order deep within us, which should be restrained in order to make normal behavior possible. And it's a direct articulation of a discourse on sellers and others of the late 19th century. And I severely disagree with what psychoanalysis. But I think psychoanalysis stands in need of analysis itself. It doesn't explain anything. Read my book. Sorry for making publicity for my book. Not very simple. So what we're talking about is citizens, European citizens. This is the culture of European citizens. There's all these scholars like Linnaeus and Klein and Valerius, or Darwin and Huxley and Haeckel here in Germany, in Jena. All these scholars were citizens, and a citizen is someone with a very specific worldview, and a very specific set of values, and a very specific habitus, a way of behaving culturally. And then this, the citizen identity is articulated in terms of the otherness, in terms of the animal other, and the animal other is in many cases, the ape, of course, is an exemplary other. But there were other others, like peasants. The citizens, the 19th century, the citizen discourse on peasants has attributes to peasants the very same characteristics as are attributed by humans to apes, by Europeans to apes. Being not correct, being impulsive, being aggressive, being not correct sexually. It's the working classes in the 19th century, the same thing. Even a male discourse on women in the 19th century are very similar. Women situated close to nature, being less rational, being more emotional, being standing in the need of male control for that reason. And this is another thing I cannot go into detail. And then of course the European discourse on other races. Sorry for this offensive picture, but I think it's highly relevant. And there are so many pictures in the 19th century along these lines. Introducing or continuing this discourse in terms of a hierarchy, with apes being low, Europeans being high, and other races being in between. And applying aesthetically speaking, applying a European aesthetic standard with this classical figure, the Leonardo da Vinci figure below, which shows the normal proportions, well-proportioned male, and which then is an aesthetic standard for judging others with, animal others, cultural others with. So this is the first part of my talk, and this what I have basically been doing is introducing a lot of data, a lot of phenomena, of things going on, the ways people used to talk about citizens as well as scholars, and the characteristics popping up in that discourse. So now let's move on and let's try and analyze this. How should we go about in making sense of it? Why does it happen in that way? And I already broached a very important first insight, I think, a hypothesis, which is that